Have you ever wondered what life was like before cars? Imagine a world where people traveled on horses, bicycles, or in carriages pulled by animals. Roads were dusty, trips took many hours or even days, and only the rich could afford a private coach. But one man had a big dream. He wanted to change all of that. That man was Henry Ford. He was not just a businessman. He was a man with a vision, to create a car for everyone, not just for the rich. And because of him, the world would never be the same again. A boy with big dreams. Henry Ford was born in 1863 in a small town in Michigan, USA. His family lived on a farm, where they worked hard every day, growing crops and taking care of animals. Young Henry helped with farm work, but he was not really interested in it. What fascinated him the most were machines. While other children played outside, Henry spent his time taking apart clocks and watches to understand how they worked. His father thought he was wasting time, but Henry wasn't just playing, he was learning. He wanted to know how things moved, how gears fit together, and how machines could make life easier. At the age of 16, Henry made a bold decision. He left home and traveled to Detroit, a big, busy city, to find work. He became an apprentice mechanic, fixing steam engines and learning about machinery. Every day, he worked long hours, but he didn't mind. He was finally doing what he loved, working with machines. Building the first car. After many years of learning and working, Henry Ford started experimenting with engines. At that time, people were already trying to build automobiles, but they were very expensive and unreliable. Henry wanted to build something better, something practical, simple, and affordable. In 1896, after years of hard work, he built his first car. It was called the quadricycle because it had 4 bicycle wheels and a small gasoline engine. It was not very fast, and it looked strange, but it worked. The first time he drove it, people stopped and stared. Some laughed, some were amazed, and others were even scared. A car without a horse? That was unbelievable. But Henry Ford didn't care, he was just getting started. The Ford Motor Company and the Model T. Henry knew that his first car was just the beginning. In 1903, he started the Ford Motor Company, determined to build a car that everyone could buy. For years, he worked on designs and tested new ideas. Then, in 1908, he introduced the Model T. The Model T was strong, reliable, and easy to drive. But most importantly, it was affordable. For the first time in history, an ordinary family could buy a car. People loved it, and soon, thousands of Model T cars were on the roads. However, there was still a problem. Making cars took too long. Workers built them one by one, and this was slow and expensive. Henry needed a better way. The assembly line, the idea that changed everything. One day, while visiting a meatpacking factory, Henry noticed something interesting. The workers did not move, only the meat moved along a track, and each worker added or cut a small part. This gave him an idea. What if cars were built the same way? In 1913, he introduced the assembly line in his factory. Instead of one worker building a whole car, each worker did just one simple task, like attaching wheels or installing doors. The car moved along the line, and many workers built it together. The results were amazing. Before, it took 12 hours to build a car. With the assembly line, it took only 90 minutes. This made the Model T even cheaper, and soon, almost every family in America had one. Changing the way people worked. Henry Ford didn't just change cars, he changed how people worked. At that time, most factory workers had long hours and low pay. In 1914, Henry Ford did something shocking. He doubled his workers' pay to $5 per day, a huge salary at that time. He also reduced their workday to 8 hours instead of 10. People were amazed. Why would a businessman pay workers more and let them work less? But Ford knew the answer: happy workers work better. And because they earned more money, many of them could now afford to buy a Model T for their own families. Soon, other companies copied his ideas, and factory work around the world changed forever. How Henry Ford changed the world. Because of Henry Ford, the world became faster and more connected. Before, traveling long distances was difficult. But now, with cars, people could go anywhere. Families could take vacations, people could live in one city and work in another, and businesses could deliver goods faster. Ford's assembly line idea was also used in other industries, to build airplanes, ships, furniture, and even food products. It made everything faster and cheaper. He also helped create the modern highway system. More cars meant that the government had to build better roads. Soon, the world was covered in highways, gas stations, and car dealerships. Later years and legacy. Henry Ford continued working for many years, building new cars and even airplanes. But he never forgot his main goal: to make machines that help ordinary people. He passed away in 1947, but his legacy still lives on. Today, Ford cars are sold all over the world, and his ideas about mass production are used in every major factory. Next time you see a car, think about Henry Ford. He was not just a businessman, he was a dreamer, a creator, and a man who changed the world. His story teaches us an important lesson: big ideas and hard work can make the impossible possible. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.